Hi, Pat. As a kid, did you get excited about the release of the SNES at all? Oh my god. I was super excited. So remember, the Super Nintendo was like the first sequel to the first movie you ever saw, basically. Because the NES is like the first major console. So the Super Nintendo, I remember, originally in Nintendo Power, you saw what the Super Famicom looked like. You're like, holy shit, a controller with 4 buttons instead of 2? You know, it's different color scheme. It looks high tech. I was jacked for the Super Nintendo release. Absolutely released. Absolutely excited for that release. In the build up, Super Mario World, showing pictures of that. I remember that being a huge one. Showing pictures of ActRaiser was big. Remember seeing pictures of SimCity. I remember Super Castlevania, seeing pictures of that and being like, holy shit, we're in for a ride, aren't we? And remember, that was fall of 91. And the console comes out that fall. I remember in that fall, there was only a handful of games you could get still. But then it comes out that Christmas, and I spoke about this. This is where, art imitates real life, or at least inspiration comes from it, real life. In my Sega Master System Christmas episode, was that I was forced that December to sell almost all my presents that I received, including Roston for the Master System, in order to afford the Super Nintendo. The good news is that I remember getting the Super Nintendo at 6th Avenue, which was a chain which I'm not sure is around anymore in New Jersey. 6th Avenue Electronics. But they had it cheaper than anywhere else. Because the MSRP of a Super Nintendo when it first came out was like $200. And for some reason at 6th Avenue, they only had it for like $180, which was really weird. They maybe had it like as a doorbuster or something. So I got it for cheaper, but yeah, I had to sell like most of my other toys I got when I was like 11 years old. I don't remember the toys I got anymore. Besides that Roston for Sega Master System, that was one I definitely had to sell at the time, which was a shame because I fucking loved that game. But that was like probably still like a $40 game in '91 or $30 or whatever. So that was a chunk of it. But I remember selling some of the other stuff in order to get that. But I was jacked for the Super Nintendo, which is why it's such a shame that I never stuck with the console as much as I should have. I only had about 10 games for it overall. Super Mario World, Star Fox, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, F-Zero, Stanley Cup Hockey, Tecmo Super NBA Basketball, and like one or two others. I didn't really have a huge amount. I rented a lot though. I rented a lot of games for the Super Nintendo, but again, it was kind of hard being that I was getting bigger into the PC games. Couldn't afford it. I had a small allowance. Parents didn't buy me a lot of games on their own, so I couldn't really ask for games for both Super Nintendo and then also on the computer. But I did play a lot of Super Nintendo at a friend's house. I borrowed some games. I remember renting Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. I remember renting Turtles Tournament Fighter. So I got my licks in when it came to the Super Nintendo. But no, I was like through the roof for the Super Nintendo when it was announced before it was released.